What are the things that go into creating a grown adult's personality? Does a parent have control over what their child is absorbing from them? What is more at fault behind your destructive decisions, nature or nurture? And what is closure? And does it really exist? Amazon Prime पर हनी बॉय देख लिया मैंने तो दिमाग ना शांत नहीं हुआ तब से. Before I start, a reminder to subscribe. Thanks. Okay, Shia LaBeouf के लिखे हुए स्क्रीनप्ले से बनी ये मोस्टली ऑटोबायोग्राफिकल फिल्म is directed by Israeli-American filmmaker Alma Har'el and it's just so wonderfully meta कि रियल क्या और सिनेमा क्या, कथारसिस क्या, ये सब इतनी खूबसूरती से इंटरमिंगल होता है इस फिल्म में. It's a great artistic achievement. Now, we might only know Shia LaBeouf as the troubled Hollywood actor who is also a performance artist and has been in trouble with the law on more than one occasion. Here, he presents his version of the backstory and shows us what led to a life of anger and general dissatisfaction, some of the bigger reasons behind his notoriety. And he does it very cleverly by creating a character in his own image. But Shia becomes another 4-letter 2-syllable name Otis. We meet Otis in 2005, shooting for many big budget movies and getting into all kinds of shenanigans behind the scenes. सब कुछ obviously writer की life को mirror कर रहा है. Screen पर धमाके, trailer में alcohol abuse, screen पर action, real life में car accident. All of this is encapsulated within one opening sequence which is cut like a flashy neon-y The Weeknd style music video and it's very, very cool. The mirroring between Otis and Shia is driven home throughout the film through many shots with characters reflected in mirrors. Notice when you watch. I love movies about movies. So when 22-year-old Otis lands in a rehab center again and is diagnosed with Maha PTSD as part of his therapy, he has to revisit those childhood memories he's repressed और जो अब bad behavior बन के बाहर निकल रही हैं. And hence begins the intercutting with flashbacks from 1995. A 12-year-old Otis is making a living as a child actor, but it seems like he's just about getting started in the business because he lives in a dingy, claustrophobic Los Angeles motel with his father, James, who takes him to and fro from work. He runs lines with him and acts as his legal guardian and supervisor. While this might sound like normal and even somewhat responsible father behavior, लेकिन थोड़ा research into Shia LaBeouf's life will show you that these formative years of him as an actor constituted some of the most turbulent times in his life. इस pain और इस unfair life को एकदम accurately depict करने के लिए the actor plays his own father in the film, a retired rodeo clown, a registered sex offender, homophobic alcoholic and a drug addict. And by doing so, by playing his own father, by putting himself in his father's clown shoes, I think Shia LaBeouf is shouldering some of the responsibility of his eventual bad behavior as an adult. Also, by playing his own father, he gives the character some room to repent. It's the ultimate expression of empathy, if you think about it, of understanding, to remove yourself from the situation and really understand the state of mind of another by trying to feel like them, to think like them, to understand their convictions and motives and what compels their actions and behavior by getting into their skin. When we try to run from demons of our childhood, times which we look back on now and are able to pinpoint as the reasons we developed a certain side to our personality, that's usually the first step towards self-growth. The acceptance of old trauma creates scope to atone for the hurt we're causing others later on in life. Shia LaBeouf had the means, so he made an entire movie about this. It's incredible that he wrote part of the screenplay actually as exposure therapy while himself in rehab. And I think this is what makes it feel real and non-manipulative because he wrote it as a form of self-preservation. He wrote it for himself, not to exonerate his bad behavior, not to make anyone cry, not to gain the audience's sympathy, but just as a letter to his childhood self, a voice coming from the future saying, it seems bad right now, but you're going to be okay, you will make it out, life will get better. जब आपकी लाइफ में पहले ही इतना मेलोड्रामा भर के है, तो how to make your film not feel melodramatic? It's a pretty cool achievement. The movie doesn't harp on about the troubled lives of childhood actors, the dangers they are in the big bad world of showbiz. No, Hollywood is only the broad background this film is set in. Like in the detailing, the embroidery in the tapestry is only about a 12-year-old going through things preteens do, but while living with a man who wanted to be better but just couldn't get himself to try hard enough. Shia LaBeouf has himself said that he didn't have any altruistic intentions behind writing this film. He didn't set out on a path to help people dealing with the same unresolved issues as him. But when you consume art, and especially art which has the capability to move something deep within your soul, that feeling you felt while consuming that art, the emotion it generated in you, that becomes your version of that piece, whether it is a movie, a painting, a song. So despite Shaya's intentions, at the heart of it, Honey Boy for me is a movie about hope. Otis doesn't give up, and he perhaps wants you to know that you don't have to either. Take your heart and make it art. What is pain if not a tool to evolve, to learn? How else would you know not to make the same mistakes again and not to indulge in self-destruction? Physically भी जब हाथ जलता है तभी पता चलता है कि आग के पास कैसे behave करना है. Shaya chooses to channel his pain creatively, and that's what makes Honey Boy one of the most honest and moving films, you will say. There's a character, Shy Girl, named thusly because she's a sex worker and that's kind of her stage name, played by a stunning FKA Twigs. She's kind of like an underage Otis's much more mature romantic interest, but also the motherly caregiver which he never had. She's sensuous and yet matronly. She's probably with her own tragic, twisted story, which I would have absolutely loved to know a little bit more about, and what makes her behave in this strange, deeply emotional fashion, because her scenes with Otis are some of the most devastating moments of the film. And some scenes are so raw, the people in them so vulnerable, and Alma Harrell's gaze on them so tender and empathetic. You as the audience feel the duality of a heavy heart for these people, but also the lightness of soul, that your life perhaps could have been way more complicated than it is. For me, it was an appreciation of the incredible circumstances which ensured that I never had to be the 12-year-old making conversation between their mom and dad because both of them refused to come on the phone to talk to each other. Or no one I know got addicted to smoking tobacco and weed before they were even a teenager because they just didn't understand what it did to their body. It made me thankful for my limited understanding of the cycle of pain some people are caught in, inherited from their parents, passed on to their children, without a moment of joy in the middle. For Otis's father James, this comes in the form of a physically abusive stepmother who came into his life after his biological mom came out as gay. So his unresolved issues with his stepmom make him extremely homophobic and hyper masculine. He even instructs his son on how to be more manly. Basically, an egomaniac with an inferiority complex, which Otis has turned into also, but by using the one good thing he's good at, his art, he's trying to unbecome. I don't know anything about clowns, but I imagine they're intrinsically sad people. Like Raj Kapoor in Mera Naam Joker, to have a job where you're making others laugh only at your own expense has got to come from some place of self-hatred. Clown work isn't stand-up comedy. By nature, the performance is supposed to be silly, unintelligent. You're making people laugh at how dumb you are. Part of it is to bring joy to the audience, but part of it, at least in the characters of James, is also self-flagellation, and it just sadly makes for a splendid cinematic character. In the last scene, you see an adult Otis go back to the motel where he once stayed to find his father in the same room wearing his old clown makeup. Otis tells him that he's going to make a film about him. They have a conversation and then ride away together on a motorbike, which cuts to Otis riding away on his bike all alone, perhaps showing us that Otis's exorcism was complete just through his art. We don't know if he actually found his father at the motel. One of the bigger achievements of the screenplay, I would say, is that it stays away from an episodic retelling of Otis's life. It stays within a few weeks in 95, when in flashback, when reaching back to the root cause of his problems, of which I'm sure were many. The flashback sequences don't end with Otis leaving his father. They just kind of fade away after one happy moment both of them share. So by not going into subsequent months and years of emotional abuse, the film stops short of becoming a sob story, and it remains firmly an insider and at the same time an outsider gaze at a father-son caught in a toxic love-hate relationship which only one managed to get out of. Why I love movies about movies is because they offer you a look at the people who make cinema magic happen, the true architects of the vision of drama, lighting, set design. Movies about movies are more often than not love letters to cinema, despite all its flaws and shortcomings. And very few that I have seen have actually managed to be as grim and celebratory of the saving powers of cinema as Honey Boy. This Alma Har'el film is streaming on Amazon Prime Video. Do watch. As an aside, go and revisit the Elastic Heart music video by Sia, written by a woman escaping her mental horrors and inherited generational trauma, enacted by two actors, both thrown into the limelight by their parents at very young ages, albeit in two different manners. It's biographical for all three of these people, and it just breaks me every single time. But lekin, please click here, subscribe. There's a little bell. Once you've subscribed, you'll see that, and click that also, so that when I upload something new, you'll be the first to know. I have so many more ideas for what I want to talk about. Stay with me, okay? Thanks.